go. Hey again, this is Dr. Tony. I'm the host of Crooked Spine Show. I'm here with Hailey. Hailey has 200 hours of certification as a yoga instructor, also focuses on breath work too. She sees the general population is going to start focusing down on more athletes. But I want to stand with her NCAA experience as a gymnast and her passion to become a yoga instructor now. What's it take to get the benefit of yoga and allow your body to heal not only physically but mentally to handle the stress of your life? As we get out of COVID now, this is July 2021. You're getting back to work, back to normal schedules, back to the grind or the hecticness of normal life. And as we do that, how do we now go back without going crazy and find ways to find routine to make our bodies healthy in that process as we get back to a more stressful, hopefully exciting portion of your job or your work or your kids going back to school too? All of it at that point, not stress out, not burn out, and not have to want to leave the country maybe. I'm not sure what you'd want to do. Get out of here. So we'll start, Hailey, see what's going on. Tell me how you got into it. Give a quick intro of what's going on and how you got into as a yoga instructor. Why is it your passion now?
Yeah, so my name is Hailey Johnson. I have my own business, and I'm Bloom Yoga and Wellness. And I've actually only been teaching for about 7 or 8 months yoga. So I'm pretty fresh, but I have 17 years of athletic experience under my belt. So I'm a former NCAA gymnast, and my passion for yoga really developed after my athletic career. So you can imagine having 17 years of, commitment towards a sport, and then all of a sudden being done or being retired. There's a huge identity process. There's an identity crisis. There's a whole range of emotions coming in. And so in an effort to ease my own anxiety of life and to really ground myself, I was looking for a practice that I could bring in my physicality, but also bring in this like rooted, grounded wisdom. And I found that through the practice of yoga. And so it's been absolutely so beneficial for me. It's been, I really think that yoga is the answer to everything, and everybody can get some kind of benefit out of it. So it's my absolute passion to share it with people because it is such a healing gift, and it's passed down for generations. And it's so crazy how relevant it still is after thousands and thousands of years, getting back to the basics, getting back to our roots. It's my passion.
Well, it seems like with yoga being centuries old, even though it's centuries old, now is the time as life gets more stressful and we do more and more things to try to pack more into our schedule of a limited day, it's more beneficial also, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about balance, especially in the Western world. We are hustle bustle all the time. And most of us, our nervous system is completely out of balance. We are in overdrive all the time. And so taking time for intentional rest, for most of us, that's the hardest thing sometimes, to just sit and do nothing, or to sit and meditate, or just stretch our body. We feel like we need to be moving all the time. That can be a really, really, we have a lot of resistance to it. It can be really difficult for a lot of people. So I think that it's absolutely beneficial to have some type of routine as we are starting to go back to normal. It's important for us to be able to adapt with the times that we're in. I think COVID showed so many of us how valuable rest and restoration is. And, it's something to continue to cultivate throughout, as we go back to normal. So yeah, that's really my take on continuing to have a holistic approach and a balanced approach to health and wellness.
Good. And when you're an athlete, how did you discover yoga, or how did yoga become part of your schedule first, and then from there become, okay, I want to do this now that I've graduated, now that I've moved on, I've had my career, I've got the benefit of my skills. How did you transition, or how did you get into yoga initially? What was your I guess your go-to?
Yeah, so we actually took, I competed in college, and we actually took a hot yoga class like many times. And I hate this. I don't like this. This isn't for me. My mind was not in the right type of place. And it wasn't in the right type of class for me. Hot yoga wasn't for me. And so after graduating and moving on to, adulthood and leaving that chapter behind, I took a lot of personal development courses, and I took this class, and it was 6 months. It was called Journey Within, and it was 6 months of reading, writing, meditation, and yoga.
Wow.
And I made the commitment to myself every single day. I'm going to create this daily practice, this daily routine. And I did it, and my life absolutely transformed from the inside out. And this is the first time I had experienced something like that, where I was going within my soul. It was connecting to something much deeper, you know? And so from there is where all of this started, to this curiosity of yoga and Eastern philosophy and meditation and all different types of stuff, and how I could connect with myself in a deeper way. And so I started to take, different types of yoga classes. I would take yin, I would take vinyasa, I would do all different things. And I really never thought that I would be a teacher, honestly. But I think once you realize the value of something, you want to share it with other people. And so that's how I came about. I just realized how much it had impacted my life, and how I want to continue to share this with everybody else too.
And when I'm saying with your work ethic as an NCAA athlete and previous to, you almost use that work ethic. Okay, now if I want this, I want to learn this, I'm going to go and take certifications, go make sure I get into this and understand all of it. So you went from almost being the grind athlete, training 4 or 5 hours, 6 hours a day, to going to school, to go, okay, I'm going to slow it down. I'm working the inside now, not just the physicality of my body.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a key component for me, because I didn't really know what self-love meant. I didn't really know how to give myself self-care, because I was always on the grind when I was an athlete. Like you said, like 5-6 hour practices every day.
Yeah.
And so there was no slowing down. There was no time for me to stop. And so doing something like yoga, where it was a gentle practice, where I didn't need to like force myself into the splits anymore. It was this mentality was no longer serving me. So it was an eye-opening experience. We have these seasons in our life where different things serve us. And moving into this chapter, I was like, wow, this is like so serving me right now, because this is a safe place where I can just unfold my layers without feeling the pressure of anybody else, or needing to fit into this expectation of an athlete, or just living up to the pressures of being an elite level gymnast. So,
but you still wanted to be, for example, get all you can out of it. So at that point, you basically, if I'm going to do something, to do this. But there was no coach pushing you. There was no timeline. Hey, by Tuesday we want this done. So it gave you that freedom to kind of absorb it, understand it, and use it. So it became part of, like you said, part of your soul of, okay, this is who I am now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like, I was like, wow, this is really beneficial for me. And every time I do this, I feel more filled up. So it was something that was coming from within, where I was like, I want to continue doing this for me. This is the first time I really want to do something for me, and not for the acceptance of a coach, or, getting the approval from external sources.
And a lot of it is going back to it. I have patients that come in here now, 2021, they're just so focused on their career, their job, their family. They've never taken a yoga class. And with studios being shut down the last year and a half or so, it's really, they don't understand what it is. Can you explain it to them, for someone who's naive and doesn't know what yoga is, and also breath work too, how breath work works?
Yeah, so yoga is just such a wonderful gift. And the word yoga actually means to yoke. It means to unify. And so I always like to say that yoga is the gift of unifying our mind, body, and our spirit. Like we were talking about earlier, most of the Western world, we're out of balance. Our nervous system is completely out of whack. And so when we actually take the time to restore all three, the trifecta, the triangle, we can show up as the biggest and best version of ourselves, because we are filling ourselves up first and foremost through breath work. Our breath is translated in Sanskrit to pranayama, which means life force energy. So in Eastern philosophy, they say the quality of your life is based on the quality of your breath. So most of us are not breathing to the full capacity that we are able to. And there's just like so many studies that show how beneficial the breath is. And what a lot of people don't realize about yoga is that it's actually a moving meditation. So for those people that may be naive about yoga, a lot of people are, concerned about with the way they look or flexibility with yoga, but it's actually more of a connection to your breath than it is about manipulating your body to fit a pose. And so I always, encourage people to give it a try, because it's the best thing that you can do is just to sit and breathe. I think
as an athlete, you're going, okay, if I move faster, better, if I move the right way, my body's going to get healthier, more athletic. But as we age and as we go into, okay, what's helping our body relax and mental and physical health together, it does require a balance of movement and non-movement. And when you said, when you mentioned that the key word for me was yoga is a moving meditation, your body's actually relaxing as you move.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's efficient per se, in the sense where how do I relax my body if I have 3 kids at home, full-time job, things to take care of the house, laundry to do, things to cook dinner. How do I find 10 minutes a day, if that's all you can find, to do my yoga, do my breath work, to get that relaxation enough for me to handle the rest of the day and tomorrow, so I can handle that stress level, not break down per se and feel like I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, I think that for anybody that's busy, 1 minute of mindful breathing is a meditation. So if you have 1 minute, use 1 minute. Even if it's spread out. If all you have time for in the morning is to do 2 stretches, do 2 stretches. But those 2 stretches are going to benefit you if you're, if that is your intention. And not only that, I always like to go on like the backside of yoga too. It's so beneficial because my instructor always says that our issues are stored in our tissues. And if we have experienced trauma in the past, or even if that kid that bullied you in 5th grade, that anxiety that you felt, or that sadness that you felt, if you have not taken the steps to process those and relieve those from your subconscious mind, they're stored in your body. And so it is so beneficial because yoga, through our breath, we can release what no longer serves on an energetic level to restore us, and to release what no longer serves in a multitude of capacities. So I just really encourage everyone to try it.
I think a lot of it, what yoga that you're getting to, also the long-term benefits of yoga is de-stressing your body. So stress is one of the causes of cancer, of medical and physical illness, and mental illness too. Can make your body less stressed physically and mentally, so your body is overall healthy, short-term and long-term. And recover from previous traumas, like you had mentioned. So that way, that doesn't affect us long-term, in the sense where a lot of our cancers started 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Where that, if that's not there, it's not going to affect us long-term and short-term.
Exactly.
And right now, what are a type of demographics that can help people with yoga? What type of mentality is most beneficial for someone starting yoga right now? What would, I guess, someone benefit from, and what kind of person or persons would it be?
Yoga is for everyone. And as an instructor, that is my absolute mission, is to make yoga accessible for everyone. And so somebody who is coming in that has no experience is welcomed. Somebody who has all the experience in the world is absolutely welcomed as well. I would say the mentality around yoga is always have an open mind and an open heart. Every day is different. And so meeting ourselves where we are at with a sense of grace and compassion towards ourselves is always the number one priority. And so I think it's really, really important to, meet each day with a clean slate. So, even
like
myself. Yeah.
Like the sense where you come in with a mindset of, I'm going to start this. There's no need to have a prerequisite or have an ability to do anything. Can I start where I am and then build on top of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
That for me, I have patients that have no flexibility at all. So I recommend yoga for them as a way to start flexibility. But in the sense where, let's say, start liking it, it's that carrot that goes, okay, I like it, but it's not striking me. That's more of my body feels better. Now I feel more relaxed and I feel happier. So it kind of feeds into that for one too, which I love.
Yeah. And yoga, there's so many different types of yoga. There's a million different types of yoga. So the great thing about yoga is that it can help you reduce your stress and anxiety, but it can also help you increase your flexibility. If you want to do strengthening yoga, balance, there's so many things that yoga is just like the answer to. I just feel like everyone should try yoga.
Everyone could benefit from yoga.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. And I tell some guys, if you want to, you can, but I tell them, don't wear the loud, flamboyant yoga pants unless you really want to. It's up to you. But can you enjoy the benefit of being in a class setting or a one-on-one, to where you start learning that it's okay to be open-minded, and if you want to call it, like you mentioned, to be vulnerable, to accepting and looking at different ways for your body to actually heal properly. When I
Yeah.
say heal, it's more of so it actually gets fixed, not just a quick fix.
Yes.
In that
From the
sense,
root.
too, what's it take someone to get into when they start to yoga and start to enjoy it? What's a timeline for them to actually see a long-term benefit where now it's maintained?
I don't really know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's more of a personal experience. And as a yoga instructor, I always say, I'm merely a guide. I am guiding you on this journey. I'm not your guru. I'm not a healer. So we're all on our own journey. And I think with each class, we peel back the layers and we start to understand ourselves a little bit better. We start to experience ourselves in a different way. And so everyone's journey is different. I don't really have an answer for that, honestly.
Good. And I like that answer because it tells people it benefits basically everyone in the sense where everyone get something out of it for one too. What questions do people have for you as an instructor to help them say after a class when they go home? What's good homework that they usually ask for, or what's something you give someone on the way out?
Yeah, so a lot of people will ask for modifications, or maybe they want to know what to build up to. How can I work on this headstand at home? What kind of practices can I use? Or for example, somebody has like an elderly grandma they want to bring to a class. How can she participate too, even though she has limited mobility? And then from there, I will assess. We have all different types of things that we can use: props, supportive yoga, restorative yoga, with chair yoga. That's one of my specialties, actually, is chair yoga. Yeah. So I really encourage, all of my students to invite their families, their parents that may be more, older or more stressed, to try chair yoga, because it's extremely supportive and it's a little bit less daunting. I noticed that a lot of people have this fear of joining yoga classes because maybe they're not quote unquote flexible, or they don't feel up to par in shape enough or whatever. Like chair yoga, you're sitting on a chair the whole time, and it's wonderful. It's a fan favorite. So
a lot of it is they can take some of that at home and go, hey, if this helped me, can I learn some of these things at home over time so I can use this when I'm not at a studio or when I'm not in a class for one too. You mentioned earlier too about people are afraid. I think people just aren't open to things they don't know about. I know when I first tried yoga, it was more like I was a weightlifter. I wasn't very flexible, but why would I do yoga? Well, that's for girls, right? First class I took the first class I took was a vinyasa class. This girl talked me into it. And she kind of baited me in like, yeah, you won't be able to do it. I'm like, of course I'm going to do it, right? I do it, and I could barely walk out of it because I was so tight at the very, what's it called, the very end where you lie down and relax? Shavasana. At that point, my legs were shaking so much. I was like, please let me walk out of here, right? I was sore from the neck down to my feet for about 3 days.
Yeah.
I loved it because I knew I needed that to balance out my strength with flexibility along with my overall mental health. My body was more well-balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you bring that up too, because I think that especially now with the fitness craze, the fitness is such a huge thing right now. And so many people are all about weightlifting and all this stuff. But what most people don't realize is that rest and recovery is just as critical as working out. And so if you are not allowing your muscles proper recovery, you're not going to achieve the results that you want to. And
I think a lot of people realize that eventually it's after their first injury.
Yeah.
This year alone, because of COVID, I think this year alone, because gyms were closed down, right? People didn't work out for, say, 3 or 4 months, so even longer than that. And they couldn't work out. What they wanted to work out was, say, heavier weights, whatever it was. Their body got tight. Because it got tight, I've had 20 people so far, 20, come in my office and see me that have bad low back injuries from just the deadlifting exercise.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I ask them, how much do you stretch? And they pause I'm like, that means nothing. If you pause, it means nothing.
Yeah.
But just starting something like yoga for me was allowed me to actually become more flexible, short-term, long-term, prevent injury as I lifted weights. So allowed me to feel better long-term and not have that up and down, up and down. I got to be careful what I do at the gym. Because I'm old. 100%. I'm 47 years old. I'm ancient. I'm 47. So if I don't get my rest between my workouts, if I don't stretch enough in the morning, if I don't get that benefit, I know my day's not going to be as well as I want it to be. It took me years, I think it's about 30, 35 to learn this. Are people now learning yoga and practicing yoga at a younger age now? Or what's the demographics of yoga? People that actually practice yoga.
My personal demographic is older population. I would say 35 to 50. That's my population. People that are parents, that are busy moms, that want to benefit, that are overstressed, overworked, and they need to be filled up. So that is my demographic right now that I work with mostly. But it's really great to see them, set that example for their kids too, because it's so important. Once you start, investing in your own self-care, your kids see it too, and then they will pick up, they'll want to invest in their self-care also. And then it's
they see mom and dad a little bit happier, not as grouchy, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, fill yourself up and you overflow with goodness and not, necessarily the other way.
You're not throwing shoes everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
That'd be bad.
Yeah.
When you do your classes now, what kind of yoga do you focus on?
So I do
chair yoga.
Yeah, I do chair yoga, and I do a combination of all different types of yoga. So I do yin yoga, which is a more restorative yoga. You're holding poses 5 to 7 minutes. It's more of a cellular reboot. So you're getting a deep level of stretch. And then I do power yoga, and I do a little bit of hatha yoga as well. So I try to bring a combination of everything into my classes to try to appease everybody. Because, everyone is on a different, wavelength. Everyone is in different places in their life. So I try to bring a little bit of everything for everyone.
And with that too, what do people talk about injury-wise, not injuries from yoga, but how do they prepare themselves for a yoga class? What's the best way to prevent injury in a class? What's the best way for them to avoid feeling discouraged because now they leave yoga class and all of a sudden, or yoga studio, and all of a sudden their back hurts, their leg hurts, their arm hurts? What's the best way to avoid that or kind of get through that?
Listen to your intuition. Listen to your body. 100%. Listen to your body. I really enforce this. This is, yoga is not a workout. It's not intended to be a workout. You can build strength via heating up the body through the breath, but it's never intended to be a workout. There's no need to extend yourself or overexert yourself. And I think that's a lot of rewiring for people. They need to like rewire their brain that this is a space where you can actually meet yourself where you're at, and you don't need to overextend or push yourself to the limits, which I had to learn the hard way. Having an athlete mentality. But that's the best way to prevent injuries. Absolutely.
It's almost giving yourself time. Okay, if I push myself enough this class and take it easy, I'll be able to enjoy another class, and I can actually learn my body can do versus overdoing, and all of a sudden you pull a muscle.
Yes.
You hurt yourself.
Yeah. Yoga is preventative care. There's no need to overextend yourself in a yoga class. Obviously, it's all about finding the balance between effort and ease. Sometimes you want to push yourself a little bit more so you can, day by day get a little bit better, but there's no need to like 0 to 100. It's just unnecessary.
There's no yoga contest coming up, right? There's no.
It's about the inside, and so I think that this is kind of a lot of I think it's a newer mentality for a lot of people. It's like, this is a workout for my mind and for my spirit, my inspiration, to keep me inspired and keep me motivated for life. So,
and what have you seen as health benefits for people so far? What's a good list, a common list of benefits that have helped people?
Oh my God, the list is oh my God, it goes on, but there's so many benefits to yoga. Like I said, the quality of our breath is so important. And studies have shown that when we use our breath consciously, we can actually activate dormant pieces of our brain. Mm-hmm. And so people who have like dementia or Alzheimer's or things like that, this is preventative care for that type of, brain disease later on in life. And so that, not to mention reducing anxiety, reducing stress significantly, reducing tension within the body. Like I said, our issues are in our tissues. We release stress from the body. We're no longer prone to chronic illness because of that. The list goes on. It's just honestly so beneficial.
What's the physical benefits you've seen so far to the physical benefits? Or someone that in my show that may want the physical benefits as well?
Yeah, I would honestly say people there were people that were not able to touch their toes when they first started taking my yoga class, and that were not able to bend down to pick up a pen. And now people are able to bend down and pick up a pen. Our bodies are designed to move in a multitude of different directions. Here's a fun fact. Actually, a lot of yoga poses are named after positions that babies take when they're in their most primal stage. So we have happy baby. We have all these positions that babies take in their first stages of life, because that is how our body is designed. So yoga is all about getting our body back into that homeostasis environment, back into our most primal, experience. And it's been really, really rewarding to see people be able to touch their toes again, or to actually be able to keep up with their grandkids. They can go, kick a ball with them and keep up and have the energy to, keep up with them.
That's the thing it's the yoga, yes, but what's it actually allow you to do for your own quality of life? I think that's huge. I think when people who, like you say, kick the ball to grandkids, well, the other grandparents are like, I'm just trying to stay out of the wheelchair. So how do we keep our body in that state of health, which is potential if we do the right things? And like you mentioned, yoga allows you to restore that health in your bodies physically and mentally. So now you get back to what you can do versus being focused on what you can't do. Do people that do yoga with you now, have they ever said that, hey, now because I'm taking your yoga class and your breath work, I'm actually taking less medication?
Yes, 100%. Yes, I have had people share with me that they have reduced their anxiety and depression medication.
Wow.
And I will share a fun fact, actually, that I also was on anxiety and depression medication before I started yoga. And this is a part of my journey, my passion, why, this is the anchor of why I would love to share this gift, is because I wanted to know about, like, how can I heal holistically? I'm tired of being reliant on something else to make me happy. How can it come from within? And so in seeking meditation and yoga, like I shared, I took that course that was like 6 months of dedicated practice and consistency that transformed my inner world. And I am walking proof that you absolutely can shift your internal environment to shift your external environment through practices like yoga and mindfulness meditation.
And some people I read one person that was asking, well, once I start yoga, I'm not going to be able to stop doing yoga. What's your counter to that?
Again, meeting yourself where you're at. Every day is different. Some days you feel like doing yoga, and maybe another day you don't, and that's okay.
And I always tell people too, okay, if you're going to stop doing yoga or working out or stop taking your vitamins, and then what are you going to do to lower that stress in your body or handle that stress of your daily life? If you tell them you're going to go on a retreat for the next year or so, where it includes yoga everywhere you go, you're going to be relaxed the whole time, your stress level is going to drop to zero, perfect, don't do anything. But if you're living your normal world, your normal lifestyle, how do you get that stress level down so your body can feel and be healthy in that sense of the stressful environment you have to live in? It's called daily life, right? How do we get through that and still feel good short term, but also long term? You had mentioned at that point we avoid the long term diseases that people get as we get older that start now in our 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I would always come back to breath work.
Good.
Breath work is a magical, that's really the only word I have to describe it. I also teach Samatha Vipassana, which is an eyes open meditation. And it's exactly for that, for the busy person. We have so much stimulus going on in our day-to-day life. And a lot of the times when we do eyes closed meditation, it's a retreat from reality. We escape from reality. So when we open our eyes, we have to come back in a sense. And although sometimes, yes, that's necessary to retreat, a lot of the times it isn't necessarily helpful when we're talking about mindfulness. Mindfulness is a muscle. And if we don't practice it, we can't expect to use it in our day-to-day life. And so taking the time to do a 5-minute meditation with your eyes open, staring one focal point, focusing on your breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out the mouth, is extremely beneficial. You're allowing your senses, you're allowing everything to be heightened for you to understand the stimulus. So when you get into a situation of day-to-day life, you are prepared. You know how to handle it because you can use your breath. Your breath is your anchor. You can tune into that piece of yourself.
Good. And then right now with what's going on, do you have videos you put out there here and there on your website, Facebook, and Instagram that allow people to understand how to breathe and how to get their breath under control?
I have not. That's actually a really great question. I teach that more in my live classes.
Cool.
So
cool.
yeah.
You got to go see you live. Where do you usually do live right now? We're doing more Zoom, you said, Mitch, right?
Yeah, right now. Okay, yeah. So I do Zoom Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Okay. And then Saturday mornings I do a combination class with my boyfriend. He teaches a workout. So we do 30 minutes of working out. We get our heart rate up, and then we do 30 minutes of yoga after. So it's power yoga.
Is that more on your Instagram, on your Facebook?
That's actually live. That's live.
Live on your website, or
no, live in person.
In person. Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, where's it located? Do you allow people to know where it is, or?
Yeah. It's at the place called 212 in Covina. So we actually just started meeting in person again, which is really great. And so yeah, everyone's welcome. Come on down. It's a great way to start your weekend. Get your self-care out of the way, and get kicked off in a great community of people who are also striving to become better and striving for ways to elevate their own life.
And that's Wednesday and Saturday there?
Just Saturday. Okay. Saturday is the combination class. Wednesday is just yoga with me.
Got it. 212 in West Covina.
In Covina.
Yeah, sorry.
Like in downtown Covina area.
Got it. 212 is pretty popular too, as I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Good. Anything else to wrap up our show? I think you gave us a lot of information. Someone who's never done yoga before, if it was me listening to this, try it. Now that gyms are opening up, now studios are opening up again, people are getting into, like you mentioned, going back to live again too. At that point, try it. Be uncomfortable to get healthier if you've never tried yoga before. There is a huge benefit to your body, mind, and soul. At that point, you'll get to a healthier state so you can handle the stresses of your life. That's my 2 cents of yoga. Do you agree?
I 100% try it and try to have a sense of like consistency with it, Try it. Don't just try one class and then be like, a lot of the times we try new things and we're like, oh, maybe that's not for me. But maybe stick out through the uncomfortability and you might find treasure on the other side.
Huge. I love that. And I'll ask you for more information about the 212 on Saturday too in a minute. Anything else to wrap up the show? How'd it go for you? Okay.
Yeah, this was great. This was really wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I just want people, I haven't had someone who does yoga in a long time, so it was time because now people kept access to it. I think going, like you mentioned, in person and trying something then first allows you to feel how it should feel.
Yeah.
To get the overall benefit of being vulnerable, but the benefit of being vulnerable allows you to feel uncomfortable, to get comfortable with something that can help you, your body and mind and soul.
100%. 100%.
All right. I'll stop the show. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate that. We'll wrap it up.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.